Exodus, chapters 1 through 3. These are the names of the sons of Israel that came into Egypt together with Jacob their father. They came each with their whole family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judas, Issachar, Zabulon, Benjamin, Dan, and Nephthalim, Gad, and Asher. But Joseph was in Egypt. And all the souls born of Jacob were 75. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel increased and multiplied, and became numerous, and grew exceedingly strong, and the land multiplied them. And there arose up another king over Egypt, who knew not Joseph. And he said to his nation, Behold, the race of the children of Israel is a great multitude, and is stronger than we. Come then, let us deal craftily with them, lest at any time they be increased. And whensoever war shall happen to us, these also shall be added to our enemies. And if prevailed against us in war, they will depart out of the land. And he set over them taskmasters, who should afflict them in the works. And they built strong cities for Pharaoh, both Pitho and Rameses, and On, which is Heliopolis. But as they humbled them by so much, they multiplied, and grew exceedingly strong. And the Egyptians greatly abhorred the children of Israel. And the Egyptians tyrannized over the children of Israel by force. And they embittered their life by hard labors, in the clay and in brick making, and all the works in the plains according to all the works, wherein they caused them to serve with violence. And the king of the Egyptians spoke to the midwives of the Hebrews. The name of the one was Sephora, and in the second Phua. And he said, When you do the office of midwives to the Hebrew women, and they are about to be delivered, if it be male, kill it, but if a female, save it. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt appointed them, and they saved the male children alive. And the king of Egypt called the midwives, and said to them, Why is it that ye have done this thing, and saved the male children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, The Hebrew women are not as the women of Egypt, for they are delivered before the midwives go into them. So they bore children. And God did well to the midwives, and the people multiplied, and grew very strong. And as the midwives feared God, they established for themselves families. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Whatever male child shall be born to the Hebrews, cast into the river, and every female, save it alive. And there was a certain man of the tribe of Levi, who took the wife of the daughters of Levi. And she conceived, and bore a male child. And having seen that he was fair, they hid him 3 months. And when they could no longer hide him, his mother took for him an ark, and besmeared it with bitumen, and cast the child into it, and put it in the ooze by the river. And his sister was watching from a distance, to learn what would happen to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to the river to bathe, and her maids walked by the riverside. And having seen the ark in the ooze, she sent her maid, and took it up. And having opened it, she seized the babe weeping in the ark. And the daughter of Pharaoh had compassion on it, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. And his sister said to the daughter of Pharaoh, Wilt thou that I call to thee a nurse of the Hebrews, and shall she suckle the child for thee? And the daughter of Pharaoh said, Go. And the young woman went, and called the mother of the child. And the daughter of Pharaoh said to her, Take care of this child, and suckle it for me, and I will give thee the wages. And the woman took the child, and suckled it. And when the boy was grown, she brought him to the daughter of Pharaoh, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, saying, I took him out of the water. And it came to pass in that length of time, that Moses, having grown, went out to his brethren the sons of Israel, and having noticed their distress, he sees an Egyptian smiting a certain Hebrew of his brethren, the children of Israel. Having looked round this way and that way, he sees no one, and he smote the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand. And having gone out the second day, he sees 2 Hebrew men fighting, and he says to the injurer, Wherefore smitest thou thy neighbor? And he said, Who made thee a ruler and judge over us? Wilt thou slay me, as thou yesterday slewest the Egyptian? Then Moses was alarmed, and said, If it be thus, this matter has become known. And Pharaoh heard this matter, and sought to slay Moses. And Moses departed from the presence of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Madian. And having come into the land of Madian, he sat on the well. And the priest of Madian had 7 daughters, feeding the flock of their father Jothor. And they came and drew water until they filled their pitchers, to water the flock of their father Jothor. And the shepherds came, and were driving them away. And Moses rose up and rescued them, and drew water for them, and watered their sheep. And they came to Raguel their father, and he said to them, Why have ye come so quickly today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us from the shepherds, and drew water for us, and watered our sheep. And he said to his daughters, And where is he? And why have ye left the man? Call him therefore, that he may eat bread. And Moses was established with the man, and he gave Sephora his daughter to Moses to wife. And the woman conceived, and bore a son, and Moses called his name Gershom, saying, I am a sojourner in a strange land. And in those days, after a length of time, the king of Egypt died. And the children of Israel groaned because of their tasks, and cried. And their cry because of their tasks went up to God. And God heard their groanings, and God remembered his covenant made with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and was made known to them. And Moses was feeding the flock of Jothor, his father-in-law, the priest of Madian. And he brought the sheep to the wilderness, and came to the mount of Horeb. And an angel of the Lord appeared to him in flaming fire out of the bush, and he sees that the bush burns with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will go near and see this great sight, why the bush is not consumed. And when the Lord saw that he drew nigh to see, the Lord called him out of the bush, saying, Moses, Moses. And he said, What is it? And he said, Draw not nigh hither, loose thy sandals from out thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. And he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses turned away his face, for he was afraid to gaze at God. And the Lord said to Moses, I have surely seen the affliction of my people that is in Egypt, and I have heard their cry caused by their taskmasters, for I know their affliction. And I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them out of the land, to bring them into a good and wide land, into a land flowing with milk and honey, into the place of the Canaanites, and the Kethites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Evites, and the Jebusites. And now behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have seen the affliction with which the Egyptians afflict them. And now come, I will send thee to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and thou shalt bring out my people, the children of Israel, from the land of Egypt. And Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and that I should bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt? And God spoke to Moses, saying, I will be with thee, and this shall be the sign to thee that I shall send thee forth. When thou bringest out my people out of Egypt, then ye shall serve God in this mountain. And Moses said to God, Behold, I shall go forth to the children of Israel, and shall say to them, The God of our fathers has sent me to you. And they will ask me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And God spoke to Moses, saying, I am the being. And he said, Thus shall ye say to the children of Israel, The being has sent me to you. And God again said to Moses, Thus shalt thou say to the sons of Israel, The Lord, God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and my memorial to generations of generations. Go then and gather the elders of the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, The Lord, God of our fathers, has appeared to me, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, saying, I have surely looked upon you, and upon all the things which have happened to you in Egypt. And he said, I will bring you up out of the afflictions of the Egyptians to the land of the Canaanites, and the Kethites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Evites, and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice. And thou and the elders of Israel shall go unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and thou shalt say to them, The God of the Hebrews has called us. We will go on a journey of 3 days into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to our God. But I know that Pharaoh, king of Egypt, will not let you go, save with a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand, and smite the Egyptians with all my wonders, which I shall work among them. And after that he will send you forth. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And whenever ye shall escape, ye shall not depart empty. But every woman shall ask of her neighbor and fellow lodger articles of gold and silver, and apparel, and ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and spoil ye the Egyptians. Psalm 21, 22 in Hebrew, verses 1 through 18. For the end, concerning the morning aid, a psalm by David. O God, my God, attend to me. Why hast thou forsaken me? The account of my transgressions is far from my salvation. O my God, I will cry to thee by day, but thou wilt not hear, and by night, and it shall not be accounted for folly to me. But thou, the praise of Israel, dwellest in a sanctuary. Our fathers hoped in thee. They hoped, and thou didst deliver them. They cried to thee, and were saved. They hoped in thee, and were not ashamed. But I am a worm, and not a man, a reproach of men, and scorn of the people. All that saw me mocked me. They spoke with their lips, and they shook their heads, saying, He hoped in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Let him save him, because he takes pleasure in him. For thou art he that drew me out of the womb, my hope from my mother's breasts. I was cast on thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Stand not aloof from me, for affliction is near. For there is no helper. Many bullocks have compassed me. Fat bulls beset me around. They have opened their mouth against me, as a ravening and roaring lion. I am poured out like water. Now my bones are loosened. My heart in the midst of my belly has become like melting wax. My strength is dried up like a potsherd. My tongue is glued to my throat, and thou hast brought me down to the dust of death. For many dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked doers has beset me around. They pierced my hands and my feet. They counted all my bones, and they observed and looked upon me. They parted my garments among themselves, and cast lots upon my raiment. Proverbs chapter 4, verses 1 through 9. Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I give you a good gift. Forsake ye not my law. For I also was a son obedient to my father, and led on the side of my mother, who spoke and instructed me, saying, Let our speech be fixed in thine heart. Keep our commandments, forget them not. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget not, nor decline from the words of my mouth. And forsake it not, and it shall cleave to thee. Love it, and it shall keep thee. Secure it, and it shall exalt thee. Honor it, that it may embrace thee, that it may give unto thy head a crown of graces, and may cover thee with a crown of delight. The Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 13, verses 1 through 30. The same day went Jesus out of the house, and sat by the seaside. And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship, and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow, and when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprung up, and choked them. But other fell into good ground, and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which receives seed by the wayside. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with great joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not in root himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. But he that receives seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable he put forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up, and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat from with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles, to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn.